Hello. How are you doing this fine evening? I, for one, am doing quite well. I am winding down for the night, per usual, and I am so happy to be here to yap at y'all until tiredness takes me. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling good. If you're not feeling good, I hope this video in some capacity makes you feel good, makes you feel better. I hope that both sides of your pillow are nice and cold, nice and cool for you. Bro, I love bracelets. Oh my gosh. I didn't used to be a bracelet person, but I fucking love bracelets. Yes. I hope 1 minute and 1 second as I look at you. I hope you're doing well. Your girl, me, is feeling so much better. So much better. The sore throat, gone. The congestion, also almost gone. We are about to be doing everything that we need to be doing as far as health is concerned. I'm just feeling so much more hopeful and happy about that. I don't know if I like that. I don't really like that those are on there like that. Let's see. How else can we do this? We do our usual, where the hand is on the bottom. That's at the top. Yeah, that looks good. I hope you are feeling and just well. I just hope you guys are feeling well. I am definitely feeling a lot better than I was before. The congestion is starting to go away. I actually don't think I'm gonna have to take any medication tonight, which is a blessing because I don't like taking lots of medication. As a person who has had to take lots of medication for other things just throughout my life, my health hasn't always been the greatest. So I try not to like pop meds whenever like I get sick. I try to like thug it out. My sister thinks it's really dumb. And sometimes it is. And then I break it up like, please, pass the Theraflu. But anyways, before we get started, for the rest of Love Month, I will be showing you all my rose quartz tree instead of the mobile that I usually show. It's all about the love, baby. It's all about the love. I love this so much. And it's definitely going to be seeing you for a while because where I have it in the room, it's not very visible, and I wish it was more visible, but I just don't have as much like space to work with as I want. So yes, feel the love, feel all of that action, feel all of it. And then you all know the drill. Get you some water. It's so nice to be able to drink cold water and my throat not try to take me out. It's so nice. Hello. Oh my goodness. It has been, excuse me, it's been a really good day. I woke up this morning super cheesy, super smiley. There's just something about the 10th that's just amazing and beautiful. I love the number 10. I love the number 10. I love 13. I love 23. The number 69 is pretty great too. No reason in particular. I'm a big fan of, I think those are my big ones. 13, 23, and 10 are my big ones. I really liked them. Pretty great. And I've been seeing a lot of those numbers today, actually, which has been interesting. A lot of confirmations. I'm gonna share with y'all. So, this morning I popped up. My dad had some kidney stuff go down, so I was on call to have to drive to the hospital to pick him up if I needed to. And luckily, the procedure went well. It was super smooth. It was super great. And so I didn't have to go pick him up. He came back and he slept a good chunk of the day, which made me so happy. I was very happy that he was okay, that he was good. I seasoned up some flounder for dinner, and I made white rice, flounder, and I did roasted broccoli for the first time. So here's how I did that, in case any of you are people who like to cook and want to try something else. So I took frozen broccoli, because that's usually what we get. We get the frozen broccoli. And I took the frozen broccoli and I poured it in a bowl, and then I put some extra virgin olive oil on top. It doesn't have to be extra virgin. It can just be any type of oil that you want. And I mixed it around in there. I washed my hands first. I mixed it around in there really, really good. And then I lined like a thin pan with some foil. And I put the broccoli in there, and then I seasoned it with salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, some like seasonal seasoning, and I used some like blackened salmon seasoning, because I really like blackened salmon seasoning. It goes good on a lot of stuff, actually. And doesn't make anything taste fishy. It's just really good. And I put that on there, and I stuck it in the air fryer. Or no, I baked it. I baked it at 450 for 18 minutes, and then I put it back in to broil on low for 2. And that broccoli is fire. It tastes like restaurant grade broccoli. So if you're a fan of broccoli, try that. Broccoli is probably my favorite vegetable of all time. So try that if you're interested. I've gotten really good at seasoning it up like in just a pot and just kind of like cooking it on the stove. So I was getting bored of eating it that way. So I was like, I've got to do something else, or I'm going to want to voluntarily leave this world. So it was really good. The white rice is pretty simple. So I made that, and that was really good. And then the flounder, I just seasoned it up with stuff we have. It's about time that we go back to grocery shop, which I hate. I do not like being in the grocery store. I don't like it being in the grocery store. Everybody's lost, including me. Like, I go to the grocery store, and if I'm like really on it and I'm motivated to go, I have a list. I get in, I get out, I do what I need to do. Sometimes when I'm feeling really good and my inner child is driving, I go in and I just look around at all the stuff that's in there, and I window shop, and I go to one store, or one side of the store, and I go to the other side of the store, and I just have a good time. It's great. But the majority of the time I'm in there because I'm having to shop for other people, primarily my family, and I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it, because if I'm just shopping for me, it's easy. If there's something I don't want, or I want to switch something up, or I see something's too expensive, I can change that immediately. But if I'm going to shop for the family, I always have to wait and text message or call 30 people in order to make sure that everything is the way that they want it to be. So it's a whole thing. So it's one of the reasons I try to avoid going to the store at all costs, especially when I have to shop for other people. But at some point, I'm going to have to do that. And I'm going to have to put my big girl pants on and just get it done. It'll be fine. But, yeah, so dinner was really good. I ate and thoroughly enjoyed. I cooked and thoroughly enjoyed the dinner that I ate. Delicious. It was really interesting. I actually thought that my desktop camera, the one that I ordered online, and I had said in another video, I had no idea where it was. I thought it was in storage, and then Spirit told me today, my Spirit, was like, hey, pull out your file box and clear it out now. And it was like an emergency type of now. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Whatever you say, Spirit. I'm just doing what I'm led to do. So I took that down, and there was a ton of stuff in there that I did not need. And I didn't realize there was so much. Like, it's just a little file box. It's not very big, but it's heavy. So I went through it and I shredded so much stuff today. Got rid of so much stuff. So this may be a message for somebody watching this. It's time to clean out some shit. Some stuff that's no longer serving you, that you don't need. You may have stuff that's gumming up the works, that's taking up space for new stuff you're trying to bring in. Get rid. So I got rid of so much of it, including things that I had been holding on for other people that I had meant to like give back, and I had asked them if they wanted. They're like, no, you can hold on to it, it's not that big of a deal. And Spirit was like, stop holding on to other people's garbage. Stop holding on to other people's garbage. And I was like, okay. So I got rid of it. 10 minutes and 23 seconds as I finished saying that. So I got rid of it, and it's gone, and I'm so happy. And then at the very bottom of the file box was my desktop camera. Crazy, right? I completely forgot that I'd put it in there. I thought it was somewhere in storage, and I was gonna have to sift through a ton of boxes in order to get through it, but luckily that was not the case. So I did that, and then today I started to like test kind of the situation with OBS Labs. I also am working with some acne. It's not really acne. I have a pimple here, and I have one here, and like I've got a couple right here, and they really hurt. Vulnerability moment. But what was I saying? Oh my god. I came out of nowhere. Yeah, so I got my desktop camera. It's just a little camera. And I set it on my desktop, and I was like playing with it today to see like how I could do it to stream. And I didn't like where I put it, and I was like, okay, my screen is just so big. Like, it's great again for like watching TV. In many places that I've lived, my computer has acted as a television because the screen's so fucking big. But for the purpose of like streaming and daily use, it's a bit too big. So I'm trying to downsize. A little bit. And I ended up like testing out the setup. I put the little camera on top of my MacBook, and I was like, so I can record myself with the camera sitting on my MacBook, and it'll give me like the proper, like it's not gonna, excuse me, it's not gonna show my entire room. It'll just show like a portion of my room and me in it. And I was like, cool. So I was playing with that, and so tomorrow I'll probably fiddle around with that some more. And I think tomorrow, I'm so excited, it's time for me to try my wig, my gaming wig. Oh my god, I feel like Rumpelstiltskin from Shrek. Wolfie, my angry wig. Ha ha ha, nobody smart but me. Bro, he's so funny. Baba, go get my checkbook. So yeah, I'm very excited that I'm gonna get to try that wig out tomorrow. My name is Trey, I have a basketball game tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so happy. It was such a good day. My best friend sent me a video that was essentially prophesizing over my life. And this video was very specifically about the soulmate connection that I have, that is just kind of, you know, I am aware of it, and the other person is also manifesting me, but the way that the universe works is that these people will not become aware of each other or meet each other until the opportune time. So again, this person that I am aware of is not somebody who I like know personally. They're not in my immediate space. They're not somebody that I grew up with. Like, this is definitely a long distance type of, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy if it actually goes down. But I saw a video my best friend sent me today and was like, yeah, like, I saw the title of this video and my spirit said send it now. And she sent it, and I was watching it, and I was like, okay, let's see what the kid has. Let's see what it's got. And the details were crazy specific, and I was like, uh-oh, that's a bit interesting. And then I felt this kind of weird feeling in like maybe 3 inches below my belly button. I felt like this nervousness like in my core, and I kind of felt it throughout the day today, and I was like, what is that? And I feel like a massive shift has happened. I don't know with whomst, I don't know with what, but I feel that a massive shift has taken place. And the effects are going to ripple and they're going to become evident over the next couple of weeks, I have a feeling. So there's just been this low, and it's not like a bad nervous. 50 minutes and 23 seconds, as I said, it's not bad. It's good. It's like exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, there's stuff happening, and it's so full body that I'll just be sitting there, and then I kind of feel like it's almost like a chill, but it's not a chill. It's like that nervous excitement. Like it's not so bad that I want to throw up, but it's just kind of there in my stomach. My sister said that she's felt something. My best friend said she felt something too. Like, and we hadn't talked. My dad told me today after he woke up from his nap, getting back from the hospital. He said something happened, something shifted, and I was like what? And he was like, in the ether, like something's going on in the general spiritual universe place. And I was like, I don't know. So keep your eye out. Keep your eye out on, I guess, everything, because I don't know, some shit might pop off for you. At the time of recording this, it is February 10th. So, actually, no, it's February 11th now, because I'm doing this at 1:42 a.m. I swear, I think automatically I am a night owl. I prefer to be up until like 4 or 5 a.m. and then I go to sleep. But I can train myself to be a morning person. I know people who are like that. And for me, it's literally just like, what do I have to do? Like, if I don't have anything to do, I'm not gonna just hop up and be awake. Like, I'm telling you, it's like my body knows. So like, if I don't have shit to do, I'll be like, I'm gonna set 3 alarms. Now, ordinarily, I will not set a bunch of alarms because I usually wake up on the first one because I'm actually not a heavy sleeper. So as soon as the phone buzzes that first time, because the way I set up my alarm is that it kind of just gradually gets louder and louder, so it kind of gently wakes you up instead of like immediately like, get the fuck up. So when it first buzzes, I come to and I'll turn it off. So I set 1 alarm to wake me up out of deep sleep, and then it allows me to kind of lie there for a minute and get my bearings, and then I have another alarm. So what I've tried to do is I've been like, oh, I want to get up earlier so I can get more out of my day. But if I don't have anything planned, I'll miss every single one of those alarms. I'll miss every single one. And I'll be like, what happened? But if I know I have to be up for something, I'll wake up before the alarms ever go off. It's the craziest thing. I don't know. I heard this thing that said that there are some people who, like, if you think about it, like, evolutionarily, via evolution, back in, like, tribe times, there were certain people who naturally, their, like, circadian rhythm, they would be up at night while everybody else went to sleep. And these were, you know, people who were, I forget the titles that they had, but essentially they were, like, the watchers. So they would look out, you know, for problems or enemies, or, you know, they would kind of keep watch over everything because they were night owls, essentially. And I was like, that's so interesting. I actually did a 23andMe test online because I wanted to know my ancestry and stuff. Or no, not 23andMe. Ancestry.com was the ancestry stuff. I did 23andMe at one point because when it was expensive to do, so I wasn't gonna do it. But at the time, my mother-in-law was worried about some things that were in, like, the family genealogy that could result in, you know, me and my exes, if we had had kids, our kids could have had some serious things go down. And so she was like, I'll pay for it so that we can find out. And I was like, cool. And so I found out that, you know, I was good as far as the genealogy went. But what was really interesting was that the way it is kind of set up is it tells you certain things about, like, your personality and stuff. Or is that Ancestry? I think it's Ancestry.com that does this, where it will tell you, like, kind of what your inclinations are. So the fact that I'm a night owl is in there. And I was like, that's weird. How did you know that? It also rid me for filth. It was like, you know, shies away from leadership positions. And I was like, this is true. Could it have been the trauma? It could have been the trauma. It makes me laugh because I am definitely an oldest child as far as, like, kind of the I have oldest child tendencies, and it is exactly what you think it is. It kind of very controlling. I have been very controlling. I've worked so hard at this. This is something that I have had to contend with my entire life, is being controlling and just wanting everything to be the way I wanted it to be. But when you're told from a young age, okay, you're responsible for these children, and if they get hurt or anything, it's your ass on the line. That tends to be what happens. It's funny because I've met other oldest siblings who they were not responsible for their siblings. So they were just kind of dicks for no reason. Like, they didn't really help their siblings out. They weren't really there to support them. They're not really close to them, and they just kind of fuck off and do their own thing. Which, I mean, hey, everybody's family dynamic is different. But for me, culturally, I was made responsible for my siblings. And so for so long I was like, I'm good on kids because I feel like I already had my kids. But I still contend with like some of the oldest sibling stuff. So like the controlling nature, I can't even say, because I was gonna say like thinking that everything is about me. 21 minutes and 21 seconds as I say that, so maybe there's an oldest sibling who's an oldest child who's watching this video. I'm right here with you. And for me, I think there was definitely a lot of that, but I think, again, it's different culturally. Like, I met people, you know, as I would call them, my European brothers and sisters, their sibling dynamics were just so different. Like, the fact that some of my exes were oldest children, and they were like, oh yeah, like, I just kind of did my own thing. And I'm like, what do you mean you did your own thing? Like, you didn't have to know where your sibling was at every, like, waking moment of the day? And they're like, no, why? And I'm like, oh my god, I was made, like, 100%. It was like, you don't know where your sibling is? Like, I, at some point, actually, at night, my sister, my youngest sister, who I'm super close with and I love her so much, we were at church, like at an evening church service, and she was coming out, I think, of her classroom, and she saw somebody who was dressed similarly to my mom and followed her, and I thought she was coming from her classroom to me, and I didn't see her, and I was like, where'd she go? Y'all, I thought somebody kidnapped my little sister. My heart dropped into my ass, and I was bawling. I was running around looking for her. I was trying to find her, and I finally found her. She was outside, and because she realized, like, the lady must have turned her out or something, she's like, whoa, that's not mom. And so I found her, and that shit freaked me the fuck out. I was like, no, this is my baby. I can't let this happen. And, you know, this is my sister that's 10 years younger than me. So, like, it's so interesting to live like an oldest child experience when it's like, no, there's a difference between oldest females and oldest males, and then there's also a difference between the varying ethnicities, and then there's also a difference in between the cultures. So I find it very interesting. It's so many of the oldest children that I've talked to were like, no, yeah, I just did my own thing. Like, you know, I go back home and I tell people what's what, and I'm like, damn, the confidence. I definitely had people-pleasing tendencies, though. Like, I still struggle with that, where I'm like, whatever you want, like, I got you. But it's just so interesting. I was thinking about that because I heard somebody say, I was watching a video, and I heard somebody was like, oh, this person's an oldest child. Ew, oldest children suck so much. And it's from, like, the perspective of middle children. And I think sibling dynamics from each stage are fucking hilarious because I am the oldest of 4. And so my sister, my second born sister, who is the middle child, or who a lot of people called her when we were growing up, like, she was the problem child. Like, she did, like, I was the person who was, like, on the straight and narrow, tried to follow all the rules. If my dad hit me with the, I'm so disappointed in you, it was like a stab to the heart. I lost it. I freaked out. I was like, please, no, I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. Some things have followed me into adulthood. I'm a good girl, I promise. But my sister was like, I don't give a fuck. She was out here living her best life, bro. And it's crazy because I judged her so hard for so many years. Vulnerability moment. I judged my sister so hard for so many years. I was like, why can't she just get in line and do what mom and dad ask her? And then when I moved out and I got older, I was like, oh, no. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be enjoyed. And I admired my sister for always speaking her mind and for always challenging the status quo. You know, she was definitely a button pusher, which I do appreciate. Watching her push other people's buttons was funny. When she would push my buttons, I was like, damn, it's not fun when I'm in the hot seat, but you know what? I still respect it. I respect it. I do. And then my brother, who was technically a second middle child, he was very interesting, very anti-conflict. And anti-conflict and like, it's like, bro, can we just retire? Can we just retire all of those issues, please? Because we could all be laughing. We could all be having a good time. Ha ha ha. And then my youngest sister was very like, fuck the patriarchy. Like I fucking love her. So passionate. And all of my siblings have taught me how to be a better person. And I definitely have regrets as far as like how I've acted, like being an oldest sibling. Like I definitely was drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, when like Disney Channel had a bunch of shows where oldest siblings were assholes. And I was like, I mean, I guess that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but I could only do so much of that because my parents were like, no, y'all are gonna be close. Because my mom is the youngest of two and my dad was an only child. And so because my dad was an only child, he was like, nah, like you are blessed to have siblings. You're not going to be a dick to them. You're going to get it together. So I still had my little, you know, dick-ish moments. But for the most part, I just didn't want to get in trouble, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't start appreciating my siblings until I moved out. And when I moved out is when I was like, damn, they were the real ones. Like, even when we weren't cool, even in moments where I like wasn't cool with each of my siblings, I knew that if I called any of them up, they would roll up to wherever I was ready to throw hands on my behalf. This is something that's actually really odd. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I guess this is just a yap session about how much I appreciate my siblings, because during my birthday month, it's funny because my birthday is in February. My sister's birthday is also in February, and my brother's birthday is also in February. 3 of us were all born in February, and then my last sister is a September baby. She's so beautiful and unique, and she's glorious and amazing and perfect. She doesn't like when I call her perfect. She's like, perfection isn't real. I'm like, I know, but if there's anything close to it, it's you. But like, I tell people who are only children that I'm friends with, and they're like, what's it like having siblings? I'm like, when you are younger, they will be your biggest ops, and you will be their biggest op. I don't think I have physically thrown hands with anybody else in my life except my sister, who is 3 years younger than me. She is the only person I believe in life. I had one bully in school that I bit. But she's, I think, the only other person in my life who I had a physical altercation with and actually swung at. And then she swung at me, and we actually fought. And it's funny because my dad didn't know that until recently. And I was like, no, yeah, actually, no, my sister and I, you know, we got into it. And he was like, what? I was like, no, yeah, like, we actually swung on each other at some point because I was tired of her talking and she was tired of me talking. So we just went at it. And my dad cackled. He was like, nah, because I definitely would have had both of y'all's asses for that because y'all should not have been fighting. And I was like, that's why you didn't know. The beef was private. There was no need to bring you in on it. We had to settle shit. No, like, my sister and I love my siblings so much, man. But like growing up, we had beef. Like we just had beef. It's kind of like, and I know some siblings don't. Some siblings are really lovey-dovey and they're very close growing up. But most siblings that I know, they're not that close. And they're just kind of like, oh, they were there, but we all had different stuff that we did. We, you know, were in different grades and things like that. But my siblings and I were raised very close. My parents were very much so on the, if you guys are not like close with each other, then we will make sure you have no friends. And At the time, I hated that shit, but now I I fucking love that I can text my brother, or I can call my brother, I can text my sister with her 3 kids, and I'm rooming with my youngest sister, and the fact that I can talk to them, we can go out for drinks because everybody's of age. I mean, not that that was ever really a problem, but we hang so tight. Like, there have been so many times where I will make a joke in front of people and they don't laugh, and I'm like, so the A1 day ones would have gotten that. They would have laughed. They would have understood. I saw a post that said, having siblings is really funny because essentially all you have is a bunch of inside jokes. Like, your comedy with your siblings is just a bunch of inside jokes from your childhood that make no sense, that nobody else is gonna get. And it is a lot of that, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's crazy. But I'm so grateful for them. I really am. I think this yap session is kind of just me, like, reflecting. Again, it's weird. During my birthday month, I get very reflective. I am a very internal person. I'm introverted in the way that I do my processing internally most of the time. So I'm constantly in a headspace of thinking about where I'm at, where I've been, and where I'm going. If I spend too much time on where I'm going, I get anxiety. If I spend too much time thinking about where I've been, I get a little depresso espresso. So, in my life now, I try to focus on the now moment, which is why I try to tell you all, hey, the now moment is a gift. That's why it's called the present. No, but no, but I communicate that to you guys because I think the present is so important, and so many of us just hand it over. We give it up every day in order to think about things that haven't happened, or to dwell on things that have long past. But during this time, I usually get very reflective because I just remember all the people who've come into my life and who have exited my life, or people that I brought into my life, and people who I very, succinctly? I don't think that's the word. But I was like, hey, like, we went as far as we could go together, and now it's time for us to separate. And I usually will also review if I have any regrets during this time. And I have to be honest, I have worked through a lot of the regrets that I had. Like, I have a couple of situations from my childhood that when I think about, I wince really hard because, when you're a young person, I don't know if everybody's like this, but vulnerability moment, when I was young, I was relatively self-centered. I felt like the world was a really big and confusing place, and I was constantly in a state of trying to protect myself. And being in a situation where there was a lot of, like, volatility going on, there was a lot of unexpected stuff, lights would go off, things of that nature would take place, moving around somewhat frequently. That type of trauma is different for each person. And so my siblings each dealt with it differently. They dealt with it in their own way. And the way that I dealt with it was, I was like, well, let me try to figure out a way to control everything. And that is a cumbersome impossibility. I heard somebody say that. And it's so true. It's so true. To try to control everything is a waste of time because ultimately you can't. You can't. You gotta let it go, man. You gotta let it go. I think life becomes incredibly beautiful and magical and wonderful when you surrender. You just surrender to the flow. Life's a river, man, and when you surrender to the flow, that's the way to go. But yeah, I don't actually have a lot of regrets because I've worked through so many of them, and luckily I have actually had the opportunity to sit down with each of my siblings and both of my parents, one-on-one, and talk to them about, like, things that I did that made them unhappy or that hurt them, and things that they did that caused me to feel a certain way. And what's crazy is, talking to my siblings, we each realized how much trauma that we all experienced and felt the same way about, but because of the fact that we just didn't think anybody else did, we didn't share. So we were all kind of going through the same emotions of being like, this is some bullshit, but we never said anything to each other because we were all in, like, like self-preservation mode. So it was like, what do I do to protect myself? So it's crazy to be in a situation where I want to talk to my siblings. I absolutely love to talk to them. Like, they're some of my favorite people. Like, we're trying to plan like a staycation situation, or like a vacation where we all kind of like get together, like in like a cabin or somewhere, like in the mountains or something, just, like the four of us, and we catch up and just chill out and just talk. Like, and my siblings are some of the most fun people to like have conversations with. Like, they're just so cool. So I love it. I'm very grateful for them. So yeah, and then if you, again, broken record, but if you have people in your life and you really appreciate them, whether it be verbally, whether it be physically, whether it be, however your love language is, in some way let them know that you appreciate them, even if they don't usually respond super excited to people showing them that they are loved, because I think everybody deserves to know that they are loved. I think everybody deserves to know that they have changed people's lives in some way, and that they have contributed to positivity in somebody's life. I think it's important for us to communicate that. We communicate so much other bullshit on a day-to-day basis. It's so easy for us to gossip about nothing, for us to talk about what's happening in pop culture that has nothing to do with us. It's so easy. So you might as well say things that are going to have like a serious effect on the people that you love. And not saying that like pop culture and that other stuff is complete bullshit, because it's not. Like, there's relevancy, there's reasons for why we talk about the things we talk about, but yeah, it's just really cool. It's really cool. My definition of success has changed. I believe my original definition of success was things, and so it was having a family, so like having kids, having a husband, having a 6-figure job. I wanted dogs. Even though I'm allergic. I did not care. I didn't give a fuck about all that. So I wanted dogs. I wanted a house with a white picket fence in suburbia, and always wanted bills to be paid, always wanted there to be food in the fridge, all that good stuff. I wanted to, be on the PTA meetings. Like, that was my vision for myself. And now my definition of success and what that looks like is different. So for me, what is successful is that I laugh every day, is that I'm spending time with people who who fulfill me as well. Success is the freedom to do creative work, whether that be content creation, whether that be music, writing songs, composing songs, spending time with my inner child and doing things that my inner child enjoys. So playing video games, doing connect the dots and word puzzles and bedazzling various items, because why not? Really, it's good food, good music, good people, and creating good memories. That's really my vision of success now. It's less about the things, even though food technically is things. It's really about the people. It's really about the people. I don't know, that's, it sounds kind of cheesy, I guess, because I feel like it's something that so many people talk about, but it's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to live that lifestyle, So, my definition of success has changed. I was feeling really, really good today. I really do feel like 2025 is, I'm gonna be real, I've been saying I felt like every year was my year, but it's because every year something very significant happened, either in my life or my family's life, And my family's had to pivot a lot because there's been health scares in our family. There's been people who've passed, you know, the same stuff that you all deal with, that you deal with. And just how we've dealt with it has been different, you know, to each other. And I don't know where I was going with that. It's crazy how I'll sit in this closet to talk to y'all and I immediately start getting tired when I've been awake, wide awake, wired for hours before this. It's the same. I don't know. I'm just feeling good. I'm feeling the love. During this month, my parents reminisce about when I was a baby and where they were at and, you know, what they were doing. And so that's kind of an everyday thing. And I like it. I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate talking about loving memories and reflecting on good times. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a super big fan. I love that I deleted so many of my photos from the past. For those of you who are new here, I actually went through a massive purge. I went through all of my Google Photos and my, you know, drive on my computer, and I went through and deleted a shit ton of stuff. I was moved to, and I cried at first because I get very like sentimental about photos and videos, but then afterwards I realized how much space I didn't have, and I'm creating all these new positive memories with people who are like chosen people in my life. 41 minutes and 41 seconds as I say that. So instead of holding on to pictures and videos of, you know, family I don't really fuck with anymore, or people who kind of proved that they do not really care about me or my path or my journey, I deleted all of that. And now I only have positive and good memories in my phone, and I like that. Like, I don't mind having pictures that kind of allude to darker times or anything like that. But October of 2024 really was kind of the start for me of being like, no, I'm going to dedicate myself to consistent betterment. Excuse me. Consistent appreciation, more consistent loving on people and supporting people, being there for them, you know? So it's been a whole thing. But I literally got up this morning and I was like, wow, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe I'm here right before things are about to kick off, because that nervousness that I'm feeling in my stomach, like I feel like things are kicking off and I'm about to have to start doing more. It's like this. So this is a warning for you. If you've been asking for things to change and you've been wanting stuff to happen, let me tell you, once it starts happening and you got to show up, it is a little nerve-wracking, and it's okay to be nervous. You're not alone. It's not crazy. If you're not nervous because you're like really excited and you're a go-getter, I'm happy for you. But if you're the type of person who gets nervous with things like this and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was going to be a manager of a 700-person team across 6 locations. Like, you know, I got you. It's going to be okay. We'll get through this together. Oh my gosh, I really want some candy right now. But I know I shouldn't because I've already brushed my teeth. This is how I try to avoid eating food before bed, is I will brush my teeth when I know it's time for me to stop eating. Sometimes it doesn't work and I go into that kitchen and I eat whatever anyways. But sometimes, like tonight, it works. So after this, literally going to title this video and upload it, climb my happy ass in that bed and go right the fuck to sleep. Part of me is wondering if I should take one more round of meds just to make sure that I don't wake up and can't breathe. Because my sister actually brought up a valid point. She was like, you know what would suck? I was like, what? She was like, what if you had like your sleep mask on over your eyes and you're stuffy, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you got sleep paralysis? And I was like, nah, bro, new fear unlocked. And I'm sorry that now I've probably unlocked a fear for somebody else. I have had sleep paralysis like 3 times in my life, and it sucked every single time. 44 minutes and 44 seconds as I say this, so I don't know who's watching this, but yo, it sucked ass. at one point, I was lying on my back and I never saw anything. I just felt this feeling of like doom, like foreboding. The second time I was actually sleeping on my stomach. So then I felt like something was like pushing my head down into the pillow and trying to take me out. And I was like, hell no. And so I just thought to myself, fling your head back. And so I flung my head back and, I was able to get up. Word to the wise, if you ever have sleep paralysis, focus on trying to move any part of your body. Because when you do, it'll trigger the rest of the body to start waking up. Also, closing your eyes helps. Don't be dumb. Don't be staring off into the shadows. There's no need to do that. There's no need to terrify yourself like that. What you can't see won't hurt you. And then try to wiggle your big toe or some shit. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll be having sleep paralysis and I'll be like, I just start yelling. Because I'm like, if I can wake up my sister, then she can like reach over and just touch me. And the feeling of being touched immediately wakes my body up. So, yeah, no, that shit was not fun. Flung my head back, and then at some other point, I actually believe I swung. Like, I was on my back, and I was, like, trying to get my arm up, and then I was like, yes. But it didn't happen fast enough, because somebody would have taken me out in the time it took me to get my arm up and moving, up and going. Oh my gosh, guys. It's crazy. I'm currently sleeping on a full mattress on top of a futon because there's a massive dip in the middle. I'm sharing a room with my sister, and I'm living with my parents at 32. That's crazy. And I feel like I state these things in every video because when it changes, I'm going to go back and watch some of these videos, and I'm going to be like, damn, that's crazy. Because I do that now. I do that. I'll go back in my old posts or old pictures or old journals, and I'll just read sometimes to see where my head was at, because who I am now is so different from who I was even 2 years ago. I'm not the same person. I used to take so much way too seriously, like, again, serious stick up my ass, and not in the way I would have liked. Like, I was very, and it's crazy because some people are like, no, you were great, but then, like, my cousins and, like, my siblings were like, no. You were fun to be around, which is why it sucked when you were an ass, because when you were fun to be around, you were a blast to be around. But then you be getting controlling, you be getting anxious. I was like, that's true, and I'm glad we stopped all that, because that shit was ass. It's like, I was talking to my dad about this today, where it's like, when people go back to your past, like when you've talked to them, and, they've forgiven you, and you guys have worked it out, and they're like, man, because you used to be a dick, or blah, 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 blah. That type of shit doesn't bother me. Like, if I'm talking to anybody and they bring up who I used to be and shit that I did wrong, I'm like, man, you're right. It was fucked up. Because the truth of the matter is, I don't really identify with that person anymore. Like, I kind of have grieved for that person because that person was the way she was because of all of her issues. Like, her insecurities are what made her that way. Her seek to control was because she was afraid all the time. She had anxiety. The insecurities were just massive. And being able to look back at myself and be compassionate to myself, but also to understand that version of me hurt people, and understanding their hurt and validating their hurt has completely changed the game for me. It's a really cool thing to be able to look at yourself and be aware of who you are and be aware of your flaws and your red flags. It's so important, I think, if, you're watching this and you're going to be going into a new relationship soon, or, you're looking to better the relationship that you're in. It's important for you to observe yourself and to know who you are, so that when you're getting into a relationship with somebody, you can let them know. You can be like, hey, yo, here's the bullshit. Now, any person you run into is going to have bullshit. But the question is, whose bullshit are you willing to deal with? Whose bullshit is you're like, okay, you know what? I could do that. My particular bullshit actually, it makes dealing with yours not so bad, I think that's ultimately what we do. We just find people whose particular baggage is baggage we don't mind, kind of sharing with them and being a part and supporting them and being there for them as they carry their own baggage and as they work through it. I don't think anybody goes into a relationship untainted, like perfect, you know? I think it's silly to believe that you're going to be getting with a perfect person, because you're not, you know? I don't think you will get with a person who is completely and fully healed, because I feel like there are things that happen all the time that cause us problems, or cause us to be upset, or cause us to feel a certain type of way, you know? So, like, and it really do, it's crazy. So, something I moved to tell you, 50 minutes, 23 seconds as this thought hit me. If you're thinking that you have to be perfect before you reach your partner, or you're thinking that you need to be in like a really good place and you want to have all your shit together, I respect that. I respect that fully. But something that I want you to remember is, oftentimes, what happens to us, and this is Amethyst, oftentimes what happens to us is we get to a certain point in our healing journey where it's time to bring somebody else in, because we are just hurt enough to be what the other person needs us to be as we move forward together. Because you think about it, if you worked on everything, right, and you are perfect, and then you get with somebody who you believe is the love of your life, but they've also got baggage, because nobody's perfect, then what would happen? You would just be sitting there looking at them. You'd be like, well, I would try to help them. Well, yeah, but a lot of that work they have to do on their own. You can be there and support them. I think that's why allowing yourself to just be where you're at and meet the person who you're with where they're at is important. You know? Because after I got out of my last relationship, I was really on some, I am not even looking at another man until I am perfection personified. I was like, Jesus, you and I are about to get real close. Like, that's really where I was 51 minutes and 51 seconds as I say that. That's where I was when the separation took place. But then as I was working, my dad came to me one day and he's like, you know, you work very hard on yourself. Like, you're very hard on yourself for the mistakes you make, you know. And then of course we had a conversation about that, because my perfectionism did come from my father in a lot of ways, because when I was younger, he was a hard ass. He'll admit that it was rough. But he told me, and what I'm going to share with you, is that working on yourself is good. Being aware of where you're at is good, and knowing thyself is good. But those things are not required for you to be loved. Those things are not required for somebody to find you attractive. Those things are not required for you to actually show up in a relationship and do solid work in that relationship. There are a lot of people who get into relationships, they don't know who they are yet. 52 minutes and 52 seconds as I say that. But what they do is, while they're with the other person, they're figuring that out. They're communicating. They're working on communication. Because, you know, communication doesn't come automatically built in for all of us, you know. We have to learn how to speak English first off, or learn how to speak the language that is the language we speak a majority of the time, and then we have to learn everybody else's language, and everybody else's language is different. Even though we have definitions to words, a lot of people will see a word differently. They see theories and concepts differently. There's just so much beautiful and sexy diversity in the world. So you don't need to be in any specific place to start dealing with somebody, or to be loved in your relationship, you know? Because what do I be saying sometimes? Growth, my love, is not linear. It's not a journey where you're just doing this the whole time. There's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs, there's gonna be, you know, turnarounds, there's gonna be to the left, to the right, one hop this time, face ass. Like, there's gonna be a lot of that going down, you know? So that's why I say be kind to yourself and be compassionate to yourself. Because I've met a lot of people who are good people, and they're really, really hard on themselves. And it's like, it's good to hold yourself accountable for things. It's very good to hold yourself accountable and to take responsibility for things. I love that. One of my pet peeves is when people walk around blaming everybody else for their problems. Can't fucking stand that shit. It's like, bro, stand up. Stand up. You're an adult. Get it together. But something else that I think is important is being kind to yourself and loving on yourself and giving yourself breaks that you need because you are human. You're not an AI, you're not a robot. You require rest, you require food, you require sustenance, you require love, community, all of those things. So I think it's incredibly important to take care of yourself. So yeah, man, I will keep saying this until the cows come home. I so appreciate you all being here. I so appreciate the love that I get on my videos, the comments, the subscribers, you know, I got a couple more. It's good to see you. It just amazes me how, for whatever reason, people subscribe to get more of this content. It makes me really happy to know that I am doing something and saying things that in some way help other people. You know, whether that be because this is ASMR, whether that be because some people just like my style, you know, whether it be because some people literally are typing out massive disagreements to the things that I say and they plan on sending those to me. 55 minutes and 55 seconds as I say that. I have a feeling a serious change is upon me. A serious change. And I don't know what it's going to be. So I don't know if this is going to be like the move is going to be really sudden. If I'm going to be asked to move out maybe. That's not looking like it's going to happen. But I'm not sure. But I have a feeling like a big change is gonna pop up within like the next 2 weeks. So I'll definitely keep you all posted on what that might be, depending upon the sensitivity of that information. Because since I live with other people, and other people are usually involved, I don't want to give too much, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure that everybody feels respected and has their anonymity, if you will. But yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where we're at right now. I'm feeling good, feeling hopeful, feeling lovely. And I'm excited for the day that I'm able to talk to somebody on video like this. I kind of want to interview people, but I don't know what I want to talk about. So, I don't know. Thoughts upon thoughts upon thoughts. Well, I'm going to go ahead and head to bed. I love you guys, and thank you again for being here while I yap and I go on and on and on about my life. You know, just talking about my shit, just talking shit in general. I appreciate you guys for being here as I reflect and ponder. And I will let you see my rose quartz tree one more time because it's so pretty. Oh, I love this. I love the gifts that I received. They're so beautiful. Alright. Well, I love you guys so much. And will leave you with one thought, and that is that I will see you later, Stinky.